Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm here with Andrew Lee, bro. Andrew Lee, how you doing, bro?
I am doing great, man. Life's great. I'm happy.
Yeah,
How about
yeah,
you?
things are good. Here, but in '88 they weren't so good. But we'll talk about that in a second. Uh,
Yeah,
um, first thing I want to talk about though is AEW has sold a ton of tickets from Wembley. What do you think about that? And then I want to talk about Tony
yes.
Khan's reaction.
I just read this right now. So those of you guys who know, uh, they're doing the All In show in London, UK, and supposedly they've sold already over 43,000 tickets. Right? I don't know how much that translates to in their money or our money. Well, Tony Khan tweeted this on May 3rd, 2023. Thanks to our great fans, only 32 hours into the pre-sale for AEW All in London, we've already sold over 43,000 tickets for over $5 million US dollars before general on sale has been begun, and
Mm-hmm.
they have more seats. That's a To me, that's really great for them. Good for them. That's 43,000 tickets sold with no card announced, correct?
Yes,
That's
but
great.
yeah, yeah, but
How do you feel
then
about this?
well, it's great, but they don't know how to take their W's. They fucking. I saw Jericho, I saw MJF, I saw Paige, and I saw Tony Khan going after people who said they weren't gonna sell these tickets, and they're just like Jericho's yelling at a random fan. And dude, that's what makes it so hard for me to like be happy for this company because like this reporter stated that they didn't really sell the tickets, and Tony Khan starts yelling at this reporter, and I'm like, bro, you know what? It's a huge, significant day. You proved everyone wrong. Why do you have to go on Twitter and yell at people?
No, 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 wait. I think you got that twisted. Didn't that guy write that before they sold that many tickets, and then they
No,
wanted?
he wrote it after, I think. But to me, it doesn't matter what he wrote. It's just like I think it makes you look stupid to respond like that.
I agree. It is kind of just like if someone's talking bad about you, don't worry about it. Just let the numbers speak for
Let the
themselves.
numbers in the show speak for itself. And and here's the other thing too. I knew they were going to sell out tickets in Wembley. Let me tell you how I knew. Number one, the UK is starved for wrestling. Number two, there's been teases on, and the AEW fan base is very plugged into this online. Online, there's teases that's going to be either Goldberg and CM Punk are going to be there, right? It's kind of like the first dance. People bought tickets because they thought CM Punk was going to be there, right?
Yes.
Um, so I think that's number two. So those are the two reasons why they're going to sell a ton of tickets. So I always knew they were going to sell a ton of tickets for this. The big test is can you do this again in a year or two? Because let me tell you something, they sold a ton of tickets for Grand Slam. I didn't go back to next year. And when I watched that show on TV, I'm glad I didn't. So that's the thing. Can you keep this up? If I think if they go to Italy, if they go, let's say they go to Italy, you get the biggest arena in Italy. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna sell it out. I'm gonna tell you right now, they have to announce a card. If you go to fucking Saudi Arabia, you're gonna sell it out. You're gonna get, the Vince will fucking have a stroke, but you will. But the key is if you keep going there, what are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah,
And
but even WWE doesn't go there all the time.
exactly. That's why the WWE doesn't go to England that much. That's why I think this was a smart move because those fans are hungry for wrestling shows. And I think that I knew they were going to sell these tickets. To me, this is not like, oh my God, what a victory. I just think like TNA could have sold this many tickets too. They used to. TNA used to sell a ton of tickets in the UK. They should have went
How
there more.
many how many tickets do you think they'll sell total AEW for all?
I
Like
think when
when
they
it's
announce
all said and done,
I think when they announce Goldberg and CM Punk, they're going to sell it out.
you think 90, 80 to 90,000?
I think 80,000 people show up for Goldberg or CM Punk. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of meatballs.
I think definitely Goldberg. I think he has to get Goldberg. He has to get Goldberg, and he will sell out that arena.
Okay, so let's say 80,000 sells, and I know it's an open stadium, right?
Hmm?
Let me ask you, how bad do you think it's gonna smell?
Well, actually, SoFi didn't smell, but those are better fans.
No, no, no. Those are different fans. Those are
Yeah,
different types of fans. How bad do you think it's gonna smell?
it's gonna be pretty bad.
How
AEW
many
fans.
seats do you think will have?
What? What'd you say? Your sound, your mic went off, brother. Tony Khan doesn't
How
like
many? Can you hear me?
what? I can hear you now. Yeah.
I said, how many of those seats do you think will have little bits of poop on it?
Oh, juice, dude. Like they're probably so fat. Those fans. It's probably gonna only be. It's probably gonna just be 40,000 because you're gonna have to need 2 seats for every
Do
fan.
you ever remember, like, do you ever walk through like New York Comic Con and then just like walk through like a stench?
Yeah, yeah. Do
I
you ever
used
like? Do you ever like go to like a wrestling show or a Comic Con? You see a guy with a girlfriend and you just want to like interview them. Like, how did this happen? What do you see in this guy? Like how are you? How is this going on? No, I think he has Goldberg. I think he booked this building because him and Goldberg have a deal. I gotta think. I don't think people bought tickets to see fucking Kip Saban. I think that he has Goldberg and he has CM Punk. And I think either one of the I think CM Punk's gonna do pretty good. I don't think they're gonna reach 80,000 with just Punk. But when they announce Goldberg has a match, you're gonna get to 80,000. I'm telling you, more people like Goldberg than the internet knows.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so and now if he does 80,000 without Goldberg, I'll be
Didn't like the Saudis specifically ask for Goldberg?
yeah. Fox also asked for more
Yeah,
Goldberg.
and he's
That's why.
Jewish, right?
Yeah, and he's Jewish.
If the Saudi Arabia was like, we need Goldberg, we want Goldberg.
Everyone needs yeah
Yeah,
Goldberg.
that shows you how over Goldberg
And I'll
is.
tell you what the match should be: Goldberg Jericho. That's the match. I don't want to see Goldberg versus MJF. I don't want to see Goldberg versus. People think Goldberg Punk. I think no. I think it's Goldberg Jericho. Give Punk an actual good match. If you do Punk versus Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho versus Goldberg, I think that you will sell out that entire arena.
Wait, what were they? Chris Jericho versus Goldberg
Yeah, that would be the other match. Yeah,
and CM Punk versus who?
Kenny Omega. You'll sell 80,000 tickets.
Yeah, I think possibly. Yeah,
And then I would have MJF fight Hangman Page. That would be my 3 main matches.
what about who's Brendan Cutler gonna face?
Oh well,
Michael Nakazawa.
him and Nakazawa are going to beat the Acclaimed clean.
No, no. Okay, yeah. You're right. Good one.
Yeah.
That's
No,
a
I
good
would
one.
do. I would. You know what? If I'm also like if I'm like booking this like to maximize tickets, Acclaimed versus Young Bucks versus FTR 3-way ladder match. That for the titles, and I would have Acclaimed go over. And then
I would not even do the ladder match, just 3-way.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then I would do. You know what I would do? I don't know if they would. I would do this. Orange Cassidy versus David Hart Smith.
I would still include a ladder match with all the undercard guys, like 8 of them, with Dante Martin's foot on.
I know.
Yeah.
I would do also. I would also do David Hart Smith versus Orange Cassidy. You bring in people anyway all the time. Bring that fucking guy in.
Something is wrong with that guy, David Hart Smith, Davy Boy Jr., Davy Boy
Yeah.
Smith Jr. Something's wrong with him. He doesn't like seem to play well with others or something where he keeps getting let go for every he only works short times for every promotion he's in.
Yeah. Well.
Whether it be Major League Wrestling or WWE, he just keeps getting like let go for some weird reason. Maybe they take him in because of his pedigree, and then when they actually see his work
Mm-hmm.
and they realize, he's not a bad wrestler.
I would try to
no
replicate the Bret Hart British Bulldog match. And I think Orange Cassidy defending the belt against a UK wrestler would be.
Kip Sabian. No.
Oh, gives a shit. If he could wrestle, because they don't care about doctors. If fucking Nigel McGuinness could wrestle again, now that's a match. Now that'll sell some tickets. I think.
Yeah,
Nigel,
I'm a
they don't. I know.
So.
Like I feel like the doctor goes like, "There's no way Nigel McGuinness can wrestle again," and Nigel McGuinness goes to Tony Khan, "Please, okay, okay, you're wrestling again, okay, oh, please, I love you, I'm such a fan. I have your TNA matches on the DVD." Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Desmond Wolf, that was so. I told Dave Meltzer they should have gave you the belt. Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel like Nigel McGuinness just has to go. Come on, all right. But yeah, no, I do think they're gonna sell out 80,000, but I don't think that's any indication that the show's good. I just think people are starved for wrestling, and people are starved for CM Punk and Goldberg.
Yeah.
Even without Goldberg, you have a rock star in CM Punk, and people want to see him.
I agree. Yeah.
But I don't think I think
they're not starved for wrestling because they have their own wrestling scene. They're starved for stars.
They're starved for stars, and even with Jericho, Jericho's a star. Daniel Bryan's a star. They want to see these guys, and people like Jericho and even like Daniel Bryan. This might be one of the last times you can see them live. I mean,
Oh yeah, they're especially at their age.
Yeah, and especially who knows? I mean, you would think Tony's going to come back, but who's to say he is? I mean, WWE went to Wimbledon in '92, and then they never came back. Now I think they're going to come back. By the way, I think they're going to come back. I think we're going to see a WrestleMania in England before 2027. What?
Do you ever go to SC Jerk and Reddit?
Is that where guys jerk off to female wrestlers?
No.
Oh, okay. That's what it sounds like.
Oh no, they have a background picture of Tony Khan, and he's got like a halo, and he's got angel wings. That's so funny,
dude. But I'll tell you another thing. Dude. I watched Monday Night Live, dude. WWE has been so bad since WrestleMania. It's been fucking really bad, bro.
Oh man! So I sent you a link for the Voices of Wrestling podcast from 4 days ago, and they actually talk about that, and they go like, ever since WrestleMania, if you look, the ratings aren't as high as they used to be.
No, because dude, here's the other thing too.
They're by the way, they're like you. They agree that this whole thing is a mistake. This whole not having Cody win, all that stuff.
Dude, also on, and we're gonna talk about this when we get to Lex Luger, Ric Flair. They had Paul Heyman basically say on Monday night that whoever wins this belt is his second runner-up. So it's like you already buried the idea of this belt. Now, if Cody had won both belts and said, "I'm giving up the Universal title," then that would have been great. But like the fact that like we have to create a belt because nobody can beat Roman is fucking pathetic, bro. Like. And then here's the worst part. The guy hasn't been dude, Roman Reigns hasn't been on the show in over a month. He hasn't at a certain point.
Is he sick or is he hurt or is he just like
I have a theory he's had long-term effects from COVID, and that's why he hasn't been on the show that much. If you notice, ever since he had COVID, he's barely been on the show. And remember, he wanted to stay away from he left because he was afraid of the effects of COVID. I think something happened to him. And he can only wrestle a few times a year. Mm-hmm. And to me, that doesn't make this fucking... They want him to beat Hogan's record. I'm sorry, bro. But if you fucking had JBL sit at home and fucking watch Friends all day, he could have beat Hogan's record too. It's not impressive to beat a record when you're never there. And he's sitting at home, and everyone has to admit they can't beat this guy. You make the entire roster look like fucking idiots. Say what you will about Hogan, say what you will about a lot of people. They were there, man. They were on the show. They were on the road. This guy's not on the road. And if you're gonna do 2 more years of this guy barely being on the show and then beating all your top baby faces.
Maybe he's filming a movie.
Then that's why he should have lost to Cody. Dude, like it's just, man, dude.
He's in the new Fast and Furious movie, right?
No, I don't think so. If I took over WWE, like the first thing I do is I tell Roman to come. I would have him lose on Friday, bro. That's how fucking. I don't care who he loses to. I would just have him lose. I'd be like, he's losing right now, and I don't care what anyone. If I was Vince McMahon, if I could take over Vince McMahon's body, I would literally call Triple H on the phone. Said Roman is losing on Friday. You're not going to talk back to me. It's going to be Cody. Make it happen. That's the main event. Goodbye. Because if he's going to sit at home, dude, this is your dude. Let me tell you something. Andrew Lee, bro, motherfucker. The show is getting so bad that Tony Khan, the tide might be turning in Tony Khan's favor because just by being mediocre. Because Tony Khan's mediocre show, I think, is right now being booked better than WWE.
Mm-hmm. There's been a noticeable shift in WWE since WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I don't think Dynamite's been that good, but it's been people complain about the four pillar storyline. I don't think it's that bad, and I think it's more
I don't
consistent.
think it's that bad either. Is it
I don't
great?
understand why people
It's
don't like it.
great.
But this is,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. Like, I thought Dynamite last week wasn't that good, but it was better than Raw and SmackDown. They've they've completely killed Sami Zayn's heat. No one's cheering for him anymore. Sami Zayn was getting pops like he was Austin 2 months ago. He's not getting those anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The Bloodline storyline is just basically done. Like
What
all
has changed? Right? We all know who it is.
well, I think
He is
I
too
don't.
old to be running anything. He's too old, man. He
Yeah.
lost it.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of this. I'm watching Starrcade, and I know Triple H. Triple H thinks that NWA News is better than WWF. He'll never like outright say it, but
You know what though? This one was. I didn't
you
think
like.
this one. This
I thought this
wait,
was
let's
boring as fuck.
really.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, let's talk about it because we're
Yeah,
gonna be
so I want to talk
reviewing.
about this show because there was an original plan for this show that Ric Flair shot down, and I think it would have been a 20 times better plan. And I'm
Oh, so
wondering if you know what the original plan
you're
was.
just talking about just the main event, right?
Yeah, there was a different plan for the main event. Do you know what the main plan was?
I don't, but how about this? You save it till the end, and
Well,
you
it
tell
ties
me
into
when
one of the
we're
mid card
reviewing.
matches. So when we get to that mid card match, I'll reveal to you what the original plan was.
Okay, yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah, when we get to
That
that
would
match.
be fun.
All
Okay,
right, so then let's get into Starrcade '88, and then we'll compare. We'll talk more about modern wrestling later on.
yeah, let's do that. With Starrcade 1988, the tagline is "True Grit."
Okay.
And it takes place December 26th, so the day after Christmas, 1988, in Norfolk, Virginia.
By the way,
10,
I like Starrcade after Christmas. I like there being an event right after Christmas.
I kind of do like that too. It's kind of interesting. And you know what was really good about this? That there wasn't a lot of Christmas themed crap.
Well, there isn't
Every
because it's after Christmas.
Yeah, but like there's no like you don't see like the ring's not in red and green, and
Yeah.
there's not like people dressed up like Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
Commentators mention a few times and stuff, and in promos they mention a few times. That's about it. No fucking you don't hear the fucking jingles of a bell and shit like
Well,
that.
also from now on, every Starrcade takes place after Christmas, except for like the last one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they never really mention Christmas. I think, and I think AEW, I think it's a really smart idea to have your storylines culminate in December if you're another company, because WWE basically takes December off every year. They don't really
Yes.
do anything. So I think it's smarter to do that. And if I were Tony, I would have my big event right after Christmas.
You know what though, and also that's when it
Also, people
should
are
happen.
off. People are off
But
and they want to spend money.
that's when it should happen because that's the end of the year anyway. You
Yeah,
know?
but the other thing is people are off. They want to spend money. I mean, the comedy clubs are always packed.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So people are going to be like, oh, on Wednesday there's AWA Starrcade, let's say. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like people are going to want to sit and watch or go to it.
Most people get that time frame off. And here's the thing, yeah, you can only spend so much time with your family without being like, I gotta do something else.
Yeah.
Um, I always didn't like the fact that WrestleMania happens around March or April. I just never liked that.
Season. Now that
It's
I'm
just
older, I don't like it. It's around tax
yeah,
season.
it's very weird time to do it, you know?
I think
Um,
he does it because like the weather's turning
yeah,
and there's not a lot of other events. It's right before the playoffs. It's right after the Super Bowl. So there's
yeah,
not a lot of events that can interfere with it. So he kind of has that little area for himself.
yeah.
I think that's why he does it.
But yeah, I agree. I like that this is taking place in December. I mean, right after Christmas. They claim that 10,000 people were in attendance. That's pretty good. That's not bad for Starrcade numbers.
Not bad.
Beginning nice intro that's recapping some of the feuds we're gonna be seeing. Luger, Flair, the Bam Bam Bigelow thing, the Road Warriors, the Dusty thing. In true NWA fashion, it starts off with audio issues.
There's issues. Do you remember Ric Flair's promo? You just hear like the announcer over Ric
Yeah.
Flair.
So you hear audio issues in the very beginning, and then you will hear more audio issues like near the end of the show. And it's like, oh, NWA, you never change.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone, he's kind of like a guest. He's like a host with guest host Magnum TA. And the commentators are Jim Ross and Bob Cottle. First match, it is for the U.S. tag title. The NWA US Tag Titles, the champions are the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers versus the weird tag team of Kevin Sullivan and Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Yeah, this is the Varsity Club.
The Varsity Club, but Kevin Sullivan is like,
That was
he's
a joke. He's not really a varsity.
yeah. So it's really interesting. Women, but by the way, the Fantastics, when they're making their way to the ring, they're like hugging all these women, but the women are like so excited to hug the Fantastics. They're just like waiting. They're just like you see like one woman like looking like, wait, I'm next, I'm next. Like they're super into it. Kevin Sullivan got fat in this. He was fat.
He was, dude. He always looks like shit, bro.
No, if you watch the earlier Starrcade, he doesn't look.
Oh yeah, 83. But we're talking like from now to when he leaves, he retires. He looks like shit the rest of his.
It's like 5 years later. It's like I can't believe.
Looks like he looks. And the thing about him, especially, it's really apparent when he's feuding with Hogan and Benoit, is he just fucking wears these little tights. He's gonna try to cover up the fact that he has a gut. And it just looks like shit that this
Dude,
guy.
It's not even just a gut. He's got like back fat.
Yeah, I know. He just looks like looks awful, dude. He looks awful.
And he's doing this like satanic thing. You know what I was thinking when I was watching this was like, oh, he was the first Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
He was like an out of shape fat white guy who's trying to do this demonic gimmick, but he's just all over the place. It's like it's too much. It's just all over the
place. Wait till more time passes. You have to watch more of this guy.
Yeah. Where it's like I don't even understand it. He is legit, first Bray Wyatt. They show Jason Harvey from the Wonder Years when he's a kid. I didn't know he was he was like while the show was happening, he was like going to these events. That's pretty cool.
Well, he was I think he was he wasn't best friends with Eric Bischoff yet, which does happen.
Yes. Yeah.
But he was bagging
That would be weird because he was a kid.
It's wrestling, but he was bagging Missy Hyatt, I think. Or he was about to. He winds up fucking Missy Hyatt for a while.
Who?
Jason Hervey.
When he's a kid?
At some point, I mean, I don't think he's a kid, and even here.
Really?
Yeah, he's not really like a little kid in 89, dude.
Oh, I thought he looks like a little kid. Oh, okay. Well,
he like so 51. Okay, hold on. He's 51 right now. That's pretty young, actually. So he's 51 right now. So 30 years ago, he was 21 in 1993. So what's that minus 5? Okay, so he wasn't banging her yet. All right.
Yeah, he's too young, right?
For some reason, they love Jason Hervey, this company. They treat Jason Hervey like he's Bad Bunny.
At this point, he's a legit celebrity, though. That's Wonder Years was a hit TV show.
Well, you know his mom's like a very powerful agent in Hollywood.
Is she? Oh, okay. I did not know. All right. Well, good for Jason Harvey. All right. Anyways.
That's why Eric Bischoff became friends with him. It wasn't because he loved the Wonder Years.
Probably true. So the finish of this match happens when Tommy Rogers is a Fantastic. He goes for a Lou Thesz press, which he hit like 3 times in this match. He does it on Dr. Death, but Steve Williams kind of like hot shots him on the ropes. So he gets kind of guillotined on the ropes, and then Williams covers him for the win. Kevin Sullivan, Steve Williams are now the U.S. Tag Champions. What did you think about this match, brother?
It was all right. I didn't love it or hate it. It was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. I feel same sentiments. Moving right along, match number 2. Another tag match. Mm-hmm. The original Midnight Express of Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose with Paul E. Dangerously, who is Paul Heyman, versus the Midnight Express of Bobby Eaton, Stan Lane, and with Jim Cornette. They fight right away, and let me tell you something. All these guys, except for Stan Lane, look terrible. they just. Yeah. I'm not talking about their wrestling. They just look terrible. They all have like shitty hairstyles. Their bodies are just like they have my body, basically. Right? But you know who looked the worst? Teddy Long. Teddy Long, who was the referee, he looked the worst. So Teddy Long somehow in 1988 looks older than he looked when he was like in 2003.
Yeah. I know, it's kind of crazy how he aged.
Teddy Long looked terrible.
Vince probably bought him some surgery or something.
Vince was like, yo, dude, you got to cut your hair. You got to cut that fucking hair. Your hair looks you have terrible hair. You gotta cut it, Teddy. Um,
All right, we had a little technical difficulties, but we're back. Andrew Lee, your thoughts on the what do you think about the Midnight Express match?
so did I finish how the finish happened? They did a
What was
double
the
goozle.
finish? Let's just go to the finish.
Yeah, they did a double goozle on Randy Rose and Stanley covers for the win. Afterwards, Dennis Condrey attacks everybody with a racket, but and the original Midnight Express are beating on everyone, including Jim Cornette. But Bobby in finally gets tennis right and saves his team. Jim Ross makes a point that this battle is won, but the war is not over. What did you think about the original Midnight Express versus the Midnight Express?
I I kind of like the idea, but it's just weird seeing Jim Cornette as a face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doesn't work. Doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me, but I like the idea. And the match is okay. It's interesting. It's but I mean, I don't know. You have to really like the Midnight Express to be into this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, while we were experiencing technical difficulties,
Yeah.
I did a deep dive on Jason Harvey. Right?
Okay.
He was dated. He dated Missy Hyatt in 1991. By the way, so when this 1988 Starrcade is taking place, he is 16 years old. Right?
Yeah.
He starts dating Missy Hyatt in 1991 when he is 19 years old and she is 28. So it's a good 9 year difference.
Money talks, brother.
Yeah, yeah. Jason will go on to he does pretty well for himself. He ends up, he created supposedly his he is the godson of Terry Funk.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
He's the one who came up with the LWO, which is a success right now.
Oh, so I wonder if he's like, "Where's my money, Vince?"
Yeah, yeah, right. He also married a porn star. So she does pretty well. She's been in movies like
He has a very. He's like one of those guys that like just never left Hollywood. It gets weirder and creepier. You know what I mean?
No, but you know what? I think he had a really long marriage with her. They were like together for 25 years, had two
Well,
kids.
I
So
mean,
that's
he had
pretty
a
good.
successful production company with Bischoff, which I never really learned why they stopped working together. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well, good for him. I think he's done pretty well for himself. So good for
yeah.
him. She's
Bischoff
his
was
wife,
great.
beautiful. I think it's an upgrade from Missy Hyatt, by the way, his wife. So good
Yeah,
for him.
good for him.
Oh, all right. Going back to Starrcade, Magnum TA. He's gonna also do what do you call it? Besides the hosting, he's gonna also go down and interview people. He interviews Mike Rotunda, Steve Williams, and Kevin Sullivan, the new Varsity Club. And basically, Sullivan and Williams already won, so they cut a promo on Rick Steiner calling him stupid and how Mike Rotunda is gonna beat him tonight. Um, I think to Adam's going to move on to match number 3, which was this was a weird combo. We have as another tag team match. So 3 tag team matches in a row.
Yeah.
We got the Junkyard Dog with Ivan Koloff versus the Russian Assassins with Ray Gootz's favorite manager Paul Jones, who is
Oh, he's still here. Oh
no
god.
longer a cowboy. He's no longer a cowboy now. Last time we saw him, he's now a Russian. Like I think he's Russian now.
Paul Jones is Russian.
The finish of this match happens when the Russian assassins think of it like how in WBF they have the conquistadors. They're just like guys, 2 random dudes in like full like body mask.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the Russian assassins, he puts like a metal plate inside his mask, right? And then he headbutts Ivan Koloff on the back of the head while Koloff is making a cover. And even though his head is also impacted, it doesn't knock out that Russian assassin, but it knocks off Koloff where that he fucking reverses the cover and the Russian assassins win. What is this, Ray? What was this?
This was a fall from grace for JYD. I mean, just fucking atrocious. I mean, 2 years before that, he's winning the wrestling classic, and now he's doing this shit. Uh, Brutal. I think this is the last we see of Paul Jones. I think he does vanish in '89. Just
Really?
just really bad, and just not good.
Yeah, yeah. You know what though? This match wasn't the worst thing I've seen so far from the NWA. You
No, it
know,
wasn't, but on this show it stands out. Yeah.
I
And
think on this
it's just
show,
like it's such a fall for JYD. It would be like 3 years from now you see Sami Zayn like wrestling on AEW Dark and losing to
yeah.
like
By the way, I read that
butchering the way.
Dark's gone.
Yeah,
AEW
Dark
Dark.
and Dark Elevation are gone. Yeah.
Yeah, so even if Sami Zayn were to leave, he can't even do that. He got to do Ring of Honor.
Yeah, Ring of Honor, yeah. It's a full it's sad to see this. Sad to
Yeah.
see the junkyard dog wound up.
All right, match number 4. We got the NWA TV title. It's Mike Rotunda versus who's a champion versus Rick Steiner. They put Kevin Sullivan in a shark cage for some fucking reason. And Rick Steiner, he's got a lot of hair and he's wearing the wrestling headgear.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Kurt Angle's old like wig gimmick.
Yeah, I think Kurt Angle was trying to copy his look. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Rick Steiner in the match, he shows that he's got one of those like hand face puppets, and he's like talking through it during the match. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And there's a point in a match where Rick Steiner, like you see him bite Mike Rotundo's ass, and during this match, what happens is Steve Williams, part of Varsity Club, he makes his way down to the ring, and then like he rings the bell. And there's all this confusion. Everyone just stops and just starts looking around like, what happened? I think this is supposed to be like the heels are causing a distraction, but it accomplishes nothing because even Mike Rotunda is like, wait, what's going on? Like nobody knows what the fuck's going on. It does nothing. And basically, Mike Sullivan gets on the apron arguing with the referee. Mike Rotunda runs into Sullivan. Sullivan gets knocked down, and Rick Steiner covers Mike Rotunda for the win, and now he is the new TV champion. What did you think of this?
Well, have you noticed how over Rick Steiner was in this match?
Very over.
Dude, he's huge over. So here we go. The original plan that Dusty Rhodes pitched, and people say that Dusty Rhodes left because of the blood angle, but also Ric Flair was pushing for him to leave when he pitched this angle. The original main event for Starrcade 88 that Dusty Rhodes wanted to do was Rick Steiner beats Ric Flair for the title.
Terrible.
He's over, dude.
No, terrible.
I think it would have worked back then. In this exact moment, it would have worked. Guy's over.
No, terrible.
Why do you think it's terrible? What do you, Giselle Shaw called?
We'll get into it. I'll get into it as we go down why it's terrible, but
he's over in this match.
If you had, I'm not saying he's not over, but
I'm not saying don't look at the future. Don't look at where he is in like 10 years.
I'm not talking about the future. I'm not talking about the future. You mean the guy who bit someone in the ass and did the hand face puppet during the match?
Okay, but like he's over every time they get a baby face to make him look like an idiot. So you get this one guy who's over, you immediately give him the belt. I think that's because I think like you constantly are making these baby faces look stupid, and then they're not over anymore. Nikita Koloff.
If you had told me somebody from this card was originally pitched, and you didn't tell me who it was, my first pick would have been Sting. Sting is very over.
Sting is very over too, but Rick Steiner was getting pretty over at the time, and it was a new thing, and obviously they fucked that up because he wasn't over.
I would say Sting is very over. Bam Bam Bigelow is very over.
Yeah.
Junkyard Dog, he was still over, dude.
Yeah.
So if you had told me pick somebody from this, Rick Steiner would have been like my 5th or 6th choice.
I think Rick Steiner was basically like, we just build this guy out of nowhere, and we make a superstar because they haven't made a superstar yet. So
yeah. I see it. I still think that would have been a bad choice, and I'll explain.
Ric Flair was like, no fucking way, and I think Ric Flair had a.
You know what? Ric Flair was smart in that choice. I think.
I don't. Well, we'll see.
Match number 5. It is for the NWA US title. There's so many fucking titles here.
I know. This is why Tony Khan needs to get rid of some of these titles.
Dude, there's so many titles. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It is Barry Windham, who's a champion with J.J. Dillon, versus Bam Bam Bigelow with a poor man's Captain Lou Albano, Oliver Humperdinck.
Who was with him in WWE.
This guy is trying so hard to be Captain Lou, I feel like, and he's not. There is a point where Bam Bam Bigelow like hurts his knee when he gets thrown outside, and they're working on it. JR was very good on commentary. He mentions this, talks about how when you're a big man, you put more pressure on your knee. JR was very good on commentary in this. This match is very good too. I like this match. Wyndham is selling, is on point. Bam Bam Bigelow's very over. I like everything about this match until the ending when fucking Barry Windham wins by fucking countout. It's stupid.
Again, yeah, this was a really good match. I thought that, by the way, we got overshadowed by talking about Dusty's original plan. I thought that was, the work in Rick Steiner's match was also very good. I thought that was
It was good.
Yeah, those two. Even though he's doing the goofy gimmick, like the Eugene gimmick, it was good. The work was great.
That's why I would have said it's the wrong choice. He's doing a stupid gimmick, dude. He's
Well,
doing
well,
like
in the interviews, and they fleshed this out in the Black and White magazine. So in the interviews, it was like this guy's a simpleton, but if he gets mad, he becomes a wrestling machine, which they nearly did with Eugene. Like, in other words, like Rick Steiner's like, oh, I like potato chips, but then like if you annoy him, he can like he becomes Kurt Angle, you know, and he is like actually he was a legit amateur wrestler. So
yeah, I don't like that gimmick. You're telling me
I like
Zamora?
I like the gimmick that like I do like the idea of like the guy is harmless until you piss him off and then he becomes like the best wrestler on the roster.
I don't mind that as long as the guy's not a buffoon, which Rick Steiner is a buffoon. They're portraying him like a buffoon.
Yeah.
You know?
But also like Rick Steiner could really but here's the thing, Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner for that matter could deliver in the ring. They could.
Where is Scott Steiner at this point?
He's not there yet. He's coming. He's not there yet. They're still thinking about Rick as a singles guy.
You know, there was a point Eugene was over, right?
Yeah, but Eugene. But see, the thing that made Rick Steiner over is that him and Scott Steiner started like winning and having great matches. Eugene never had a great. Because I don't think Eugene was that good of a worker. So.
Oh well.
I'm telling you this: if they had Rick Steiner in 2004, let's say you take Rick Steiner, not Rick Steiner, how old? Let's say Rick Steiner's in his 20s in 2004, right? And you make him Eugene. I think he could have got Eugene over. Especially if then they bring in his brother Scott and Scott's not retarded. What?
I just don't think a stupid person gimmick should be the champion. It's just really dumb.
I think in NWA, the 80s, you could do it.
I don't know. This guy was really dumb. He played it well. He played really stupid.
Well, he's still dumb because he fucking yelled and screamed at Giselle Shaw. Kevin Nash saw it, apparently.
Yeah, I don't care about Kevin Nash.
I'm just saying that, like, people try to say it's made up. Kevin Nash said he saw it. So
I didn't doubt this for 1 second, by the
way. I don't doubt it either because he seems like the dumb guy that would do that.
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't been caught for something like this earlier. That's why I was really surprised.
Probably, yeah.
What do you think about this match, Barry Windham versus Bam Bam Bigelow?
I thought the work was great. I mean, Barry Windham is a great worker, but again, the finish does these guys no favors. I'm
a dumb finish. It pissed me off.
The worst thing about NWA is these guys like will fucking work, like they'll put in such great work, and then the finish is just horrible. It's always like a horrible finish that makes you be like, I wasted the last 15 minutes of my day watching this. I could have done other things.
It doesn't help either person, by the way.
No, so it doesn't help nobody.
There's no point if you don't want to. If you can't figure out who you want to win, then don't have the match.
Yeah.
You know? Like it was like you're watching. You know what it's like? It's like you go to a restaurant and you're having a really great meal. Like the meal is so
take
good.
It away.
And then they come and they tell you like, oh yeah, by the way, like the chef like spit all over it while he was making it. You're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Or like you're at a comedy club, you had a really great show, and then they tell you to like you can't sit at a table.
Yeah. Or like they gave you this amazing meal. Actually, what you said was funny. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just it doesn't matter. This is what I learned. It doesn't matter how, and I learned this also with Cody Roman. It doesn't matter how good the work is in the ring. If your finish is fucking garbage, the match was fucking garbage.
Yes, that's true.
And that's what this match was. I like the Rick Steiner match better than this overall.
I liked this match. I think this was fun to watch for me, as long as I cut out the ending, which is not saying much. Yeah. All right, Magnum TA, he's in the back with Rick Steiner, who just won, and Rick Steiner starts cutting a promo, and this is where I was like, this guy 100% is a fucking idiot. He's doing he's doing a shittier Jim Duggan at this point. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know why Jim Duggan's popular? Because he's a moron. Well, we gotta bump it up. We gotta be even stupider than Jim Duggan. And he's just saying stupid shit. He's good at it, but he's basically paying playing a character who's got
Did you
brain
notice
damage.
the audio cuts out? Didn't the audio cut out on yours?
Yeah, the audio cuts out because that's when Rick Steiner started talking about trans rights, and they was like, no, that's why they cut that funny off.
Like, I heard about this baby in the Philippines named Giselle. It better not come near me.
All right, match number 6. It is for the NWA World Tag Titles. We got the champions, the Road Warriors, with
Another
Paul
tag
Ellering.
match.
What? Yeah, another. There's 4 matches. There's 7 matches. 4 of them are tag matches. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
We got Road Warriors champions with Paul Ellering versus Sting and Dusty Rhodes. This match is happening, and people are really into Sting. And then the finish happens when Paul Ellering stops the referee count, which causes a DQ, and Sting and Dusty win by DQ. What the fuck?
First of all, Dusty. The match was good until the finish. Again, it's the same
I know.
story.
Yeah.
Dusty looks awful in this match. This might be the worst he's ever looked.
You know why? Because he's in there with Sting. That's why.
And the Road Warriors, who all look like fucking Greek gods, and this guy is like this guy. You know how I always say Deanna Peraza used to say Belle Welle? Now this is the Belle Welle. All right, this is why when Vince got him, you know, if you notice his shirt, he never had his shirt off when he worked for Vince.
Yeah, I mean,
he goes to Vince in like 4 months and gets over again, but he does not. This match, it was okay. It's weird that they turned the Road Warriors heel and the Midnight Express is good. That's weird. I just feel like you know, why would you have the Road Warriors be bad guys? There's still so much money with them as good guys. But it's a good match, but the finish is garbage. If you had Sting pin like one of the Road Warriors, I think that would have been great for him.
Sting was really over. Sting's very over.
They just, that's the thing. It's like they don't, and this is gonna play in the main event. They don't let the baby faces be victorious, so look smart, and I think that's why ultimately, like, they lost to WWF. This company does it till the very end. They just keep doing it.
Yeah, and you know, like, by the way, JR calls out that Sting's only at this point 3 years in the business or something.
Yeah, he tries to do that with Luger too. He tried to excuse why Luger lost, and it's like it doesn't make it doesn't excuse the horrible finishes, you know?
No, it doesn't excuse the horrible finishes, but like for someone who's this young in the business, but that over, right?
Yeah.
Like your Sting shirt, right?
I'm wearing a Sting shirt, yeah.
Yeah. It's this is the guy. If you told me, like, if they should have been like, oh, Dusty should have been like Sting, you know, Flair, you make Sting, you know. But
well, they saw that it worked with Warrior. I mean, unless there's something we don't know about where like Dave Meltzer was spinning that Warrior didn't work, but it worked with Warrior. You can't tell me it didn't, right? SummerSlam '88.
What are you talking about? It didn't work with Warrior. I don't get it. What didn't work?
No, it did work with Warrior.
Yeah, what didn't? Who's saying it didn't work?
I'm saying unless we don't know something where Meltzer was trying to spin it that it didn't work. It worked with Warrior, letting him beat old Honky Tonk Man and just looking like a fucking badass.
Yeah,
I don't understand why you wouldn't just do that with Sting. I don't understand how you're watching that show and being like, and people probably would have said you're copying WWF if Sting just walked out and beat the shit out of like the Road Warriors and pinned them or something. But it's like, well, you know what? Let's just fucking do it. Who cares? It worked. Fans are gonna go crazy. Like if Sting beats Ric Flair that fast, I think people would have really been into it.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I don't know how. This is the worst part. Like they saw it. You know how you were like, AWA is so stupid because they saw NWA do this shitty finish, saw the outcome, and they still repeated it. NWA is equally stupid because they see what happens at WrestleMania with Ultimate Warrior.
I mean, SummerSlam, yeah,
SummerSlam, and they don't do it themselves, right? Yeah. That's like stupid, yeah. So it's dumb.
Yeah, and unless, and I'm convinced there is an issue of Wrestling Observer from '88 where Meltzer tries to spin that the Warrior was a flop because the Warrior was in WWF. Actually, the Warrior is not. Actually, Warrior winning wasn't good for business, and the house show attendance went down 3% in Wisconsin. So as you can see, Tony Khan was Booker of the Year even back then. There's this kid Tony Khan. He totally would have booked a better show.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go to our main event. NWA champion Ric Flair with JJ Dillon versus Lex Luger. They show in the attendance Lou Thez. He's watching the show right alongside Jason Harvey. And
Two wrestling legends.
yeah, two wrestling legends. There's a point in this match where Flair hits Luger on the leg with the chair, works on the knee. Luger gets Flair in a torture rack, but because his leg was being worked on, his leg buckles and he falls with Ric Flair on top of him. Flair makes the cover with his feet on the rope for the tainted victory. Ric Flair retains. What did you think about this?
I didn't like it. I liked it, but I also didn't like it. I thought, Luger lost. First of all, there's a couple mistakes made here. Okay, we're trying to get Luger over as the top babyface, right? At least that's what I think we're doing. Right as Luger's walking to the ring, they cut to a sign that calls him a loser. Did you see that?
Yes.
There's a big close of a sign that Luger's
loser.
Lex Loser.
Which I thought was very clever, by the way.
But why would you show that? Why would you highlight that on your show? Why would you do that? And then there's a sign about how great Ric Flair is, who's supposed to be the heel. That's number one. Like, you've already defeated your purpose. But here's the other thing, too, bro. This is the other thing I want to say about Luger. Because I was listening to Laps Fan. They're reviewing like a Luger match in '89. They're like, this fucking guy's really good. Dude, he's not a bad worker. And
I agree.
All the time, like, dude, if you listen to some of these podcasts with Jim Cornette, Jim Ross, Eric Bischoff, Arn Anderson, they're all like, well, Luger wasn't good enough, and Luger didn't deserve it. No, shut the fuck up. You're making excuses because you think people aren't going to watch these fucking shows, right? Luger didn't. You're making excuses because you didn't go all the way with this guy. If you went all the way with this guy, it would have worked. You, with your fucking booking and your stupid fucking close-ups of these dumb signs, you made him fucking a loser. You made him a guy who never reached the next level. Vince McMahon, same thing.
So I actually have a different take on that.
Yeah.
We all hear stories about how Luger he didn't come from wrestling. He didn't watch
but also he's not a good worker. They always keep saying that.
Here's my take on this.
Mm-hmm.
You always hear stories, even Luger admitted he never was a fan growing up, right? Yeah. And when he got into wrestling, his attitude was different. Right? He didn't like, oh, you got to respect the business, be humble. And I don't think the people in charge like that about him, the fact that he wasn't a fan growing up, and that to him, he's not passionate about it. He's just in it for the business, money-wise. And I think those are the reasons why they didn't push him. And now that after time, it's revealed that they were fucking morons for using their own personal bias and their own personal takes for not pushing him. They're going to look like idiots. So you're telling me instead of being professional, you were little bitches. And you're like, no, I don't like his attitude, so we're not going to push him. But that sounds stupid. It makes you look stupid. So that's why they say, he wasn't good enough. Because then that's a more viable.
Yeah, Ric Flair does the same thing. The matches with him weren't that good. Yeah, they are. What are you talking about?
You just don't want to admit that you guys politicked him not getting the belt.
Yeah, and you didn't like
that he's not from
squashed his heat. You squashed his heat for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Instead of just going with this guy. I mean, the whole end of the show just buries this guy. And Jim Ross tries to make it a good thing that he lost. You could tell Jim Ross is struggling for things to say. Actually, the people left so annoyed because this is the second pay-per-view in a row where you have Luger look like an idiot at the end of the show. And yet everyone's thinking that this is going to be the next guy. You're pushing him like he's your Cena, like he's your Hogan, but you constantly make him look like a moron. And then I don't know. The match was good. The match was fine. The work again, Ric Flair is the best worker with the worst finishes.
Yeah, and that's not Ric Flair's fault.
But I think some of it might be though, because of Ric Flair.
Some of it might be, but man, it's he's got these good matches, but they've got. It's like if you go to a restaurant, they give you an amazing meal. You got potatoes, you got vegetables, you got this big steak, you've got and you're like, you want to dive in. They're like, actually, start with the potatoes first. Eat the potatoes and work your way around the vegetables, and then get to the steak. And trust me, it's gonna be really good. So you're just like, oh, the potatoes good. And you're eating around. When you get to the steak, they go like, they take the steak away and they throw like tofu on your plate, and you're like, well, that ruined the entire meal to me. That the whole experience is over.
And some people say like, oh, if Luger won the belt, it wouldn't have been good. I'm like, how could it have been worse? How could it have been worse? Because you guys got your ass kicked by Vince McMahon.
Luger's young. He looks like $1,000,000.
He looks like a star.
He's wrestling competently, right? He's not stinking up the joint. It's literally, I'm sure it's because like, no, I don't like his attitude. Now put the belt on him. He ain't ready yet.
You didn't see Great American Bash 88, but he was good enough. The 3 singles matches he's had on pay-per-view, he's done probably better than Austin Theory has in his pay-per-view matches in WWE. The guy for only being in the business that long and not liking it is doing a really good job of holding up his end of the main events with the greatest wrestler of all time. You know what I mean? So like I don't understand. Like it annoys me because they don't think people watch these shows. I guarantee they don't think people watch these shows. So they just tell you, oh, Lex Luger stunk.
Yeah. Yeah, it's stupid. Well, we're being real to you guys. We're being real to you.
Luger was a great wrestler.
Yes. So after the show, they announced that there's going to be a Bunkhouse Stampede Battle Royal right after this for the people in the audience. But for pay-per-view, it's over. And they're talking. Magnum is talking to Ric Flair. And Ric Flair starts giving a promo about, after everything Jim Ross says, Ric Flair goes, Luger's never wrestling me again. He ain't ever getting a shot again. This was it. This is your only chance. You ain't got none shot. And there's a lot of audio issues in this whole thing. It's stupid. what a terrible way to end the pay-per-view.
A terrible way to end it. And then you're letting people know that there's another match a day. You're telling people who paid like, I don't know how much this costs. Let's say it costs $20. You're telling people who paid $20 they're not seeing the whole show. Like, why would you not just cut to the back with Tony and Magnum and never show the arena again if they're announcing that there's gonna be another match? You know what I'm saying? So You're telling people you're not really getting the real main event. You're telling these fucking people at home. And then it's such a shitty way to end. You're basically telling the fans that if you like Luger, he's never going to get another good match. He's never going to get another shot at the world title. It's just like, it's such a shitty way to end the show, bro. Dude, they only have themselves to blame. They have these 3 hours of TV time. You can't blame Vince. You can't blame Hogan. And they just constantly shit the fucking bed.
And this wasn't even a bad NWA Starrcade. I think out of all the Starrcades I've seen, this is the best one. And as far as like the amount of matches, there was no shit. There was not a lot of garbage, but the finishes were still bad. And the way and this is how you're gonna end a pay-per-view, right? Like telling everybody who's watching, there's gonna be a Bunkhouse Stampede that you're not watching. And and we're gonna it's just stupid. It's just like it was really.
And you could see that also people in the arena didn't care that it was a Bunkhouse Stampede. They were already like trying to leave. Like,
this really made me go like, you know what? No matter how good it is, it's still the NWA.
They just in their own way. They're always in
their own fucking.
You know what? You know what I hate? Like listening to these podcasts. Like Jim Ross goes, everybody else's fault. Eric Bischoff goes, everybody else's fault. I just wish like one time, like Ric Flair, Jim Ross, Arn Anderson. I know he wasn't here for the show, but bear with me. These fucking guys just sit down and be like, you know what? We were all fucking idiots. All across the board. Yeah. I was an idiot. Jim Ross was an idiot. Jim Cornette was an idiot. We were fucking morons. Because they always there was these other people that it's never like the person who's being interviewed's fault when they talk about WCW and NWA. And no, it's all your fault, including Ric Flair.
Nobody will ever take ownership.
Yeah. At the end, who? So you had one clean finish where the babyface went over. And who was more over at the end of the show than anybody else was Rick Steiner. And who you didn't want to, by the way, push. You know, like Ric Flair almost had a fucking stroke before he had his actual stroke. They were going to give the belt to Rick Steiner. Why don't you give those finishes to the people you supposedly wanted to push? But again, same thing with Sting. When some people they'll talk about, it's always Sting's fault. That's Sting. You know, it's always Sting's fault that he didn't get over, even though he's booked like an idiot too. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just, it's their fault. It's their fault. No, it's your fault. They had
them win by DQ.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's Sting's fault. Like Gary, they're reading again, the Laps fan. I'm listening to them. They're reviewing an '89 pay-per-view. Gary Harley goes, Sting didn't want it. That's why he never was. No, you booked
Yeah,
Sting.
but see, that's what I'm talking about. They probably did it like,
Mm-hmm.
see, wrestling's like an old boys club, right? It's
Yeah.
like comedy. You got to be humble. You better come in humble and respect all the guys who paved the way for you. And the moment there's one guy who you go like, I don't think he respects the business. Like, I don't care how good he is. I don't care how much money he's gonna make us. I don't think he respects the business like I do. And then you fucking shit all over it. And then you go, oh, like, his heart's not in it. No, fuck you. His heart's not in it, right? That's not how work. This that's the stupidest thing, but that's the excuse they
But you know
use
why
when
their
they
heart's not in it? Because Luger shows up the arena and they're like, "You're gonna lose the foot on the rope," and then Ric Flair's gonna cut a promo. You never get the title shot. That's why his heart's not in it, because it's like, I thought we were building to this. Okay, this is the
I
second
think
time you've done this to me.
I think their heart's not in it is cold for this guy doesn't I don't like the way he treats his business or something like that. Like
Yeah.
his views on the business don't match my views. That's basically what it's saying. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
and Ric Flair wasn't ready to. Ric Flair wasn't ready to, and again, the guy's almost 40. He turns 40 in February of '89. He's not ready to like admit that these guys are better or do the honors to make them look better. And I think it would have. I think if he had put over Luger at either Great American Bash or this show, and sitting with Nikita in '86, I think it would have been great business for them. I don't think Ric Flair would have
Great
lost
business
legendary
for everyone,
status.
including Ric Flair, because you could always do a return match.
Yeah, I think if you had let Luger win in one of these shows, by the way, there's more pay-per-views where he looks like an idiot coming up. Like there's
Oh
a
god,
lot.
it's fantastic.
And then when he's supposed to, when he's booked to lose to Luger, when he's booked like you have to, he leaves with WWF. So but he's always a victim, Ric Flair. Yeah. I think if you let Luger win in either this pay-per-view or the previous one, I think business would have gone up. I think things would have been better. You know, I would stand by that. And you can make all excuses you want, but at the end of the day, all of you went nowhere with these decisions. So
But it was, Vince McMahon's fault.
it's Vince McMahon's fault. Yeah,
Vince McMahon's fault.
Vince was playing dirty with.
Yeah.
All right. So next week we're in 1989, which, by the way, is one of the best years in WCW NWA's history. So we're about to reach like legendary status. But first is Royal Rumble '89. Then the Chi-Town Rumble with match one of Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. Then we have WrestleMania 5, and then Wrestle War '89, which is match 3 of Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. So yeah, those are supposedly the greatest matches of all time. So
Royal Rumble in 1989. Can't wait.
yeah, that does not have one of the greatest matches of all time, but it'll probably be good. All right, guys, follow me, Ray Goots, on Instagram, Ray Goots Comedy on TikTok, subscribe, and we're gonna end now in case this freezes again. So we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.